Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of What Is Wrong With You. Today I am joined by my lovely guest, Allison Wojtowecz. I said it right.
You said it right. Yes! You nailed it.
She is a stand-up comedian. She runs a show at the Creek in the Cave called Litty Titty. And yeah, you guys should go see it. Thank you so much for coming. This is, if you guys, whoever's watching, this is like the first time we've met.
Yeah, it is. I was very excited. She was like, do the podcast, we complain. And I was like, I'm there.
Dude, because yeah, so I don't even know. I just like thought like if I just get people's complaints about like their everyday life, like we can figure out like what is wrong with people like collectively.
Yeah,
you know?
Maybe we can. There's gonna be just a long list of problems, and then the solution's a question mark.
We just don't know yet. Do you have any like complaints that you have occurred this week or today?
Okay, I feel like this is just a recurring complaint.
Okay.
It has happened this week, actually. It happened to me at a party on the weekend, but I hate when people find out what I do for work, whether it's comedy or my day job, and then they start asking for like free advice.
Oh gosh.
Like maybe this is like a hot take, but I do social media marketing and like digital marketing work for my day job, and I've been doing it for a long time now. And I produce comedy shows in Austin.
Right.
So like because I know digital marketing, I'm able to produce my show fairly well, and so I get good attendance. And don't get me wrong, it's taken 2 years to build this show up also, you know. But like I have a consistent audience for my show now, and so now people will come and ask me for advice on how do I grow my show, how do I market myself, how do I this. And it just like it's one of those things where like because it's a knowledge thing, people think they can just ask you and then they're gonna know how to do it.
Of course.
You know? But I'm like, it's like I was talking to Brandon before you got here, like he said you're an actress. I also act.
Oh nice.
It's like if someone were to just be like, hey, can you explain Shakespeare to me?
Yeah. And then you're like, okay, well, I had to like learn. It took me a long time to
also like can you even read Shakespeare first of all? Like, do you know the difference between thee and you? I'm sorry. Like, so it's like that's literally like what people will do sometimes is they'll come to a show and see that it's cool, and then they'll be like, wow, you had this really great show. So how do you market on social media? And I'm like, do you want the list of courses that I've taken for this?
Right. Well, it's also just because like I'm sure you've put a lot of time and like hard work into figuring out like how to market your show or like how to do your day job efficiently.
For sure.
So people are like, oh, what took you a long time is just gonna take me like 10 minutes.
It's the same. Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing as like going on a date with a guy and he finds out you do comedy and he's like, oh, I think I could do it. It's like, homie.
I hated, that was like my least favorite thing about the freaking dating apps. Like when I was on them was like, I made the mistake one time because there was like a stage shot that I was like, oh, I like this picture of myself. Right. And then guys are like, you do comedy? I've always wanted to try.
Yeah, it's either that or like they're just super fans of comedy and they're like, it's so cool that you do comedy. Let's talk about every comedy experience you've ever had. And then they like, I've noticed this lately because I'm currently on Hinge, flex. Fuck it. I hate it so much. Someone please save me.
If you're single, listening to this.
Let's be clear. Like, yeah, people like, I've noticed this a bunch is like, I felt so bad. I went on a first date with a guy. He was so sweet. He was very nice, great guy. But like all he wanted to talk about was comedy. And it was like, oh, well, I have this theory about Kill Tony. And like, well, what do you think about that? And he's like asking so specifically. And I'm like, I don't think they realize that these people are like our coworker. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then it gets awkward because you're like, I'm actually in the environment.
Yeah, it's like I literally run into these people at work. Like, I don't want to be gossiping and telling you the industry dirt. We're at Home Slice Pizza right now. Chill out.
Especially on a first date, too. It's like, why just, I don't know. I couldn't ever, like, it would make me, like, so mad to where I'd start getting bitchy when they'd be like, I like this comedian or that. And I think, like, have you ever had a guy be like, oh, like, are you practicing your bits or like, are you gonna write?
Please don't put me in your bits. Please don't put me in your little skits.
It's like, why would I want to include you?
Yeah, I've said that before. I'm like, you think you're funny enough? You think you're important and special enough for me to write about you?
It's like, no.
I'm like, I didn't even want to cover my half of the tab here, dude. If I liked you, I would have offered to do that.
No, seriously. It's like, you're not Zac Efron or someone that I care enough to write about. And I just like, have you ever brought a Tinder or Hinge date to like a show?
So this is so bad. First of all, when I got to go to Denmark to open for Jason Rouse a couple years ago, but I downloaded Bumble while I was there to sell tickets.
Okay, I respect that.
So I sold a few tickets that way, but I literally used to do this thing called Shitface Shakespeare here in town. They used to run it at Spider House and at the North Door pre-COVID.
Nice.
And we would do a Shakespeare play, and we would get one actor drunk for the show. And then the sober actors had to figure out how to deal with the drunk actor for the whole show. And they were allowed to fuck it up any way they wanted as long as it made sense in the context of the play. So like, if Romeo was drunk, he couldn't like whip out his cell phone to call for help, but he could decide to hit on Mercutio instead of Juliet and decide he was gay. And then we had to just improvise around that and figure out some sort of ending, right?
Right.
So it got crazy because we're dealing with a drunk person. But I used to match with people on dating apps and be like, hey, if you want to come see me drunk to know what you're getting into. And I would literally be like, I would sell tickets that way, dude. It was so bad. Like, and then I never went on second dates with any of them because they saw me being an idiot, just tearing my dress off as Juliet, you know?
But okay, can I just say that I love that you were like, come watch me do, like, not only be drunk, but, like, do Shakespeare while I'm
Come
drunk.
see me at my worst. If you can't handle me at drunk Juliet whipping a dildo around like it's a windmill dick,
then, like, yeah,
then we're not getting a second date.
Right. That's brilliant, though.
Hey, I'm still single, so it didn't work.
But that was a good way to weed them out, though.
It was. Honestly,
like,
I'm still friends with two of the guys that came.
Oh.
I would say more friendly acquaintances with one. Like if I see him at a party, it's like, sup, dude, and it's just cool.
Right.
The other one I stayed friends with, but never actually dated. They were not. They were like, no, I'm friend zoning you after that.
Like, this isn't gonna work out. No. Yeah. It's like a slippery slope. That happened. Actually, that has happened to me twice. I invited this one guy, like, I used to run a show, and I was like, oh, hey, come see the show. And then he saw the show, and he was like, oh, like, I could have done that better than you. And it, like, pissed me off. Yeah. I blocked him.
Yeah.
I got so mad.
Like, here's the thing. Even if you're thinking that, dude, don't fucking say it to me.
And it was, like, a night where, like, it's not like I, like, was, like, freaking amazing, but I was like, it's not like I bombed that night.
Right.
Like, so it was just awkward, and, like, he was like, it's a joke. Can you not take a joke? And, like, I was just like, you know what? Like,
yeah, well, that's the thing. Guys, maybe that's what the complaint is like, guys they'll say something mean to, like, test the waters. And then when you take it the wrong way, because you, like, I'm very good at picking up on sarcasm and like when someone's trying to riff. And so it's like, if I misconstrue what you said and think that you were serious, you're the one that's not funny.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like, okay, like if you're testing the waters to say something mean and then I get offended, like they love to be like, oh, well, I was just kidding.
Right.
Why are you taking it so seriously? Like that's like initial gaslighting.
Yeah. You know? It's like, no, like, like, yeah, I don't get like offended easily at all.
Yeah.
Like, and yeah, so I was like, like, I don't want to be dating somebody that's going to be like acting like that, but it's fine. My boyfriend now like comes to my shows and like, I get kind of embarrassed. Like, I like, don't like, just like, don't look like, it's like, so I don't know why it almost feels like, you know, like whenever you're like a kid and like, you have to like pick a friend to like do like a group activity with like in the embarrassment. Like I used to be like, who's gonna pick me? And like, like I feel that same kind of like embarrassment because I'm like, just don't watch me.
Just don't watch me. Yeah. Now I'm on Hinge. I was engaged a few years ago. So like there was a period where I had a boyfriend and he'd come to shows and stuff. And I never minded, like, he loved my jokes. Like, he was genuinely very supportive, which I appreciated. And some of them were even about him, and he loved it, you know? He thought it would, like, I would run a joke by him, of course. I don't just do stuff about my partner without their consent. But, like, you know, I would definitely be like, hey, I don't necessarily want you coming tonight because I'm working on something. Or, like, you've already seen this set. I don't want you to be bored. You know, I was kind of like that for me. But now I'm like, oh, I didn't even realize I have like really strong boundaries around comedy now when it comes to like who can come see it. Cause like, especially when I'm dating someone, it's like, I've gone on a couple first Hinge dates recently, just like trying to get back out there and stuff, and like, but met some nice people. But they're on the first date, they'll be like, "I want to come see you," and I'm like, "That's cool," but like, sorry, you're not hanging out with me afterwards. Like, if you want to come see a show, maybe maybe we can get away with that. But like, if you want the like, I get you into the show and then we hang out afterwards, like, we need to either be decidedly friends or we're in a relationship. Because like, if I'm just bringing a different guy around the club every other weekend, even if we're not hooking up, I don't like how that looks. And then I have to deal with the roasting of all of the men at the club. Like, that's the thing I have to explain to them is like, every single friend, guy or girl that I have ever brought to the club, whether I am hooking up with them or not, comics have something to say about it.
Of course. Yeah.
And so I'm just like, for my sake and yours, if you ever want to come to a show at this club again, you don't want people to see you with me once and then not again. Like, because someone's going to give one of us shit and it's just annoying.
Of course. And it's also like, you don't want to be bringing like random people you're just not saying like you just met them, but like men who you don't know where it's gonna go, like into your workplace. Like,
into your workplace. Exactly. Again, like if they happen to show up to a show, whatever, you bought a ticket, of course you're allowed to do that. But like, yeah, it's like that's so interesting. It's like, would you take me to like your company Christmas party after one day? It's kind of similar, like
it is similar, and I feel like some of them look at it as like, oh, that's just like the little hobby that and it's like, no, like it's a serious thing.
Oh no. I go two-stepping quite often, and
fun.
I was wearing like a Liddy Titty shirt because I had done Liddy Titty and then I went two-stepping afterwards on Tuesday. And one of the guys I danced with was like, oh, what is that? And I was like, oh, it's a comedy show. And he was like, oh, like on TV? And I was like, no, it's a live show here in town. And he was just like, oh, interesting. He was like, do you go to it or something? And I was like, oh, no, it's my show. And he was like, oh, is it like an open mic or something? I was like, oh, no, it's a show that I produce at one of the comedy clubs downtown. And he's like, oh, like an open mic. And like, I literally 3 or 4 times had to be like, no, I make money at this. Like,
I would have been like, boy, bye.
I know.
I'm not dancing with you anymore. That's like, I forgot there is that thing where some of them too used to be like, do you do open mics? And it's like, no, this, like, why would you be wearing a shirt for your open mic?
Yeah,
like, I'm
dude,
sorry.
If I'm wearing a shirt for my open mic, don't fuck me. I need to learn my lesson. That's my political stance.
I do just want to know like where his logic was, where he was like, oh yeah, she's gonna promote her open mic.
I think I genuinely like, unless you're in comedy or you're a huge comedy fan, you genuinely don't understand how bad open mics are.
There's like some of my friends are like, when do you have like shows or mics? And I'm like,
I'm not telling you about the mics. Like, you don't get to come to that. You're not invited. If I show up and you're in the audience, I'm no longer on that open mic.
No, seriously, it's like, I don't want you to like, no. When I like first did an open mic ever, I invited my friends because I was like, what,
help support me. For sure.
And then like now looking back on that, I'm like, oh my God.
The first open mic I ever did, my roommate wanted to come and I was like, you're not allowed to see this. And then the following week I did the same mic again and she was like, please let me come. I just want to get a photo for you. You're going to want this photo. And I was like, you're crazy. I'm probably going to quit. And then now here we are 6 years later.
Nice.
She sent me that photo the other day and I was like, yeah, I'm glad you got that picture. I'm so glad you saw that set though.
That's a very good friend.
Yeah, for sure.
No, I understand what you mean though about like the whole like, I feel like I'd like jumped around, but just going back to your complaint
just
about
asking for free shit.
Yeah, I feel like that's like I don't understand what goes through people's minds when they like do stuff like, because like I can relate in a sense where like it took me a really long time to like find my way through like acting school.
Yeah.
And so like people who like don't say hi to me or like just like don't talk to me, all of a sudden they'll come up to me and be like, so how'd you get an agent? Like, what can I do? And I'm like, I had to pay to go to school to learn how to do that. Like, I'm not telling you.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I was talking to like Roderick about this actually, and like I was like, I feel like I'm being like an asshole gatekeeper, but like,
yeah, well, here's
really.
the thing. So I was actually laughing that this happened. Like I said that it happened to me at a party last weekend. So the guy was asking me like, well, how do you grow Instagram accounts? And I literally gave him like legitimate advice, but I kind of just ran through it really fast. And then I was like, well, I can send you like some of the courses that I've taken too if you want to check those out. I really recommend you take one of those because that's how you're gonna like get the knowledge to seep in, right? And so he Googled one of the courses and he was like, oh, this isn't free. And I was like, yeah, neither is my consulting. And he goes, well, you just gave me the consulting for free. And I was like, yeah, can you repeat back anything I just said? He couldn't.
Oh my God.
But like, that's the thing, right? I think like, here's my theory with this is like, we're such a instant gratification with physical goods society. Like you order something on Amazon, you get it 4 hours later, you know, like, I think people just don't equate the value of knowledge products as much as they understand I can't bargain at the grocery store, you know, whereas like they don't view like if I say my consulting is whatever it is an hour, let's just my consulting is $100 an hour. If I just throw that out there and I'm like, you have to pay me $100 an hour, people are like, that's insane, that's not the price of that. And then I'm like, well, actually look at the market, you know, like whatever, like you can literally like, and people just don't understand that there are market values for certain things depending on what you're doing. It's like, yeah, if someone pitches you comedy consulting for an hour and they're saying $200, maybe don't work with them, you know, but $200 an hour for web design, that's market value, you know? So like, it just depends, but like people don't see the value in services as much because they're not getting like a physical thing, you know? But like it's the same for you. You invested actual money to get the knowledge to get an agent and you put in the groundwork and the footwork. And then someone's coming to you being like, hey, I want to call someone and have an agent in 2 hours for free. Can you help me? And you're like, no.
I'm like, that's not how it works. Or it's like, the same thing how you said you like offered like, oh, like my consulting, you know, and it's the same thing where I'm like, oh, well, I do like coaching on like, you know, just like I coach people. And then it's like, okay, well, never mind.
Well, but that's the thing though, like getting back to what I had said where he was like, well, you just gave me your consulting for free. And I was like, can you tell me anything I told you? And he was like, fuck, I don't remember it. And I was like, yeah, if you had paid me, you would have remembered it. So that's the other thing is like, I've been working as a freelancer in like the marketing space. And now obviously comedy, you're always freelance, right? I've been working as a freelancer for a long time. And it's like, it's the weirdest lesson to learn, but it's like if you're running your own business, your cheapest clients are your worst clients. Like the people that try to nickel and dime you and get stuff for free, they're not actually going to implement what you teach them because they don't see the value in it. But like if someone is paying you the market rate that you asked for, they're like, shit, I just dropped whatever amount this person asked for. I have to do it. And they're taking notes and they're seeing results because they're actually doing the thing. That's like a huge,
so much sense. You just clarified like so many things.
Like
it's like, I used to have like a spray tanning business and I did it for like 4 years, but I worked under like a salon and then I decided to like go off on my own. And when I went off on my own, I was like worried that I wasn't going to have clients. So I was like, all right, $20 spray tans. And that attracted, like, I stopped doing it after that because it attracted, like, the worst clients.
People.
And not all of them. But, like, there were maybe, like, 3 that I was just, like, I don't like doing you guys have, like, scared me out of this. And that makes sense because it's, like, you should just put yourself at the price.
Put yourself at the price, and then if they're gonna complain about it, it's like, okay, you can go find someone else cheaper, you know,
see how it works out.
You know, like at best, like run a sale once in a while if you want to give some people discounts, but like it's really true. And like even like I used to do like personal training and nutrition coaching stuff, and like I'll still do it sometimes if someone wants me to help them, but like even if it's like a family member, I'm like, I'm not gonna charge you my full price, but like you have to give me some money for this because you're not going to make change. And like, honestly, half the time, if it's like an uncle or something, I'll just give them the money back afterward, you know, if they actually stick to it. But I'm like, you literally have to give me the money right now because you're not going to stick to this unless you see that like leave your account. And that's true for me anyway. Like, you know, someone gave me a free subscription to Masterclass for a year. I didn't take a single course. If I had paid for it, I would have been watching that shit all the time. You know, I know that. Like, 'cause otherwise I would have canceled the subscription. You know? Like,
it does give yourself more leeway to do. Yeah. That's how I am with my workout class.
Yeah.
I like how
I just got these nice new clothes.
Yeah. Or like if I want to go to yoga, I'm like, I'm signing up because I paid for it. And like, now I can't. Like I can't not do it. Yeah, that makes sense.
Peer pressure and financial pressure do it to people.
Yeah, it really does. You know? Are you you don't have to answer this question if you don't want to, but you seem so like emotionally mature, and I just have to ask, are you in therapy?
I'm not actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I ask like people that sometimes because like I'm in therapy, but I just like always wonder.
I know people ask me that a lot, which I'm like, flex.
Really?
No, but no, I've definitely had some shit. I mean, I think like I will say, like, in terms of like comedian backstories, I have a very vanilla one. Like, it's kind of weird that I ended up in stand-up when you talk to anyone else in comedy.
Really?
My parents are still together. They're very much in love. I had a great home life growing up. So
lucky.
Yeah, so that's the thing where I'm just like, I think, you know, obviously I'm a pothead now. But like, you know, I think for the most part, like I was just very lucky. Like my mom was always super positive and like really just reinforced that in me. And you know, I haven't like gone without my shit, but a lot of it was self-induced. So I had to like buck up and learn from my own mistakes, quite honestly. Like
gotcha.
Yeah.
But that's like a good, like you seem like such a like confident person, so that's a good thing. Like I think sometimes, and I don't know this, I'm probably wrong about this, but obviously I know that like comedians go through like a lot of struggle. Like I have myself, but sometimes I feel like whenever people are like, you have to be depressed or you have to be this, I'm like, you don't have
you
to,
don't have
though.
to. I don't think that's true. I feel like the pattern, like, yeah, for sure, like depressed people or people with like, you know, like disorders. I don't even really consider a lot of those you know, whatever. Like, but like slightly different mental patterns, you know, ADHD, whatever it is, like a lot of things like that. Like those people are attracted to comedy, but I think like there's some other underlying things that connect comedians. Like if other comedians that I have met that maybe don't have depression or ADHD or whatever it is that they're dealing that way, it's like, no, but my family was hilarious growing up and I'm the least funny one in my family. Like personally, that's mine. Like my entire family is so funny and it's mostly men and it was constantly just us roasting each other and I felt like I was the least funny person. And so I was like, I gotta do comedy to get funnier to keep up with these motherfuckers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I like that though. I've never heard like anyone say that's why they got into comedy.
I mean, that like truly, the shit-faced Shakespeare directors told me that I was bad at improv and I needed to get looser on stage and I didn't want to take an improv class.
I don't blame you.
I was like, fuck improv, that's gay. I'm gonna do stand-up, that's way cooler. And then I tried it and I was so bad and I was like, I can't be bad at this. I have to get better. And so then I kept doing it. But like for sure it was like, and also I grew up watching stand-up with my dad. So I was like, okay, like, you know, my family is really funny. Like my dad kind of just like says shit like this sometimes. Like directors told me I need to do something. So I was like, okay, I think I'm going to do stand-up. And it was kind of a combination of those things.
That's awesome.
But yeah.
Yeah. Improv is like, I don't blame you for not wanting to.
And again, but like Shakespeare was technically improv, right? Yeah. Loved that. But like regular improv classes, no. Like, yeah.
Do they still do, or you said they don't do?
They still have it, but it's in Boston and London now. It was one of those things where there was like a theater company with a few locations.
Gotcha.
And obviously we all shut down during COVID and they just didn't bring the Austin branch back, which sucks because we would like sell out. I don't know. I might like try and email them and be like, can we come back?
You should. I would love to go like watch, because I like to watch Shakespeare. I don't like to act it. Yeah. But I'm somehow like fascinated by just like all of the plays and like I took a class where we had to like dissect what they meant and stuff.
I'm a huge Shakespeare nerd. I will talk with you about that all day. But yeah.
So, you know, watching it I feel like would be fun. You should email them to try
the way we did it was very fun too. Like we always used to joke like, come for the shit-faced, stay for the Shakespeare. Like because like the shit-faced, like the fact that we had a drunk actor was why we would sell out, right? And everyone's like, what the fuck are these people doing? You know? But like the way that they like, because we would make sure the play was only an hour too. We would tell the whole story, but we didn't want to keep a drunk person on stage for 3 hours. So like it was an abridged version of the plays, but we would joke about it because it's like, no, people actually understand Shakespeare when they come see our show, because the way that like we would dissect the play, like Shakespeare nerds, and actually like understand how to enunciate properly so that the modern ear could listen to it. And like Shakespeare's also way more sexual than anyone lets them let on. So like, you know, you throw in the actual, if the actors understand the actual innuendo that's going on in the play and they portray it, anyone can understand it.
Right.
Like, I'm literally like in the process of reading all of his plays right now because I've never fully read all of them. So yeah, I'm like more than halfway, thank God. But yeah, there's like 30 something of them.
Yeah, it's a lot to get. I only did it like because I was forced to.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. And I was like, I'll read it, and then whenever it came time like to go up in class and like present the scenes, I was like, fuck. Like, this is the most like humiliating because they used to be like, if you can act like Shakespeare, you can act anything.
Right.
And that's so true. But I was like, I don't think I can act anything. Like, I'm good.
I got so lucky like growing up in theater. Like my high school theater director was like huge into the older plays, so I did several Shakespeares in high school, and then I went to UT for acting. And so
nice.
And like my director that I worked with most there, he was a huge Shakespeare nerd, and like we did King Lear my senior year. And he cast me as fucking Lear, the lead, which is like the most lines of any play I've ever had, I think. And like, I literally cannot tell you how many hours I spent just sitting with him, looking at it line by line and like annotating, like this is but after you've done that, like you're fluent in Shakespeare. Like that was the one time where I was like, oh my God, I went by this page by page. I understand literally everything. And now it's like, if I pick, like, I've never read King Henry V. I'm reading it right now for funsies.
I haven't either.
I like opened Spark Notes so that I could make sure I was understanding properly. But I was like, oh, I'm nailing this. This is crazy. Like, I cannot believe I still remember this shit. It's another language.
Yeah, it is another, it really is another language.
Yeah.
My teacher who like taught us was like so passionate about it. And she's just so great and smart. And like, I appreciated it so much, but I was like, after this class ends, like
you're like, I'm done.
Yeah,
Shakespeare Bible being donated.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think I'll ever come back to this by choice, at least.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah,
I always tell people if there's one Shakespeare play, no one ever hears about this one, but it is so insane. It's called Titus Andronicus. And it is his first tragedy that he ever wrote. So it's definitely like the sloppiest of the tragedies, I would say, in terms of just like most of the other tragedies have believable villains where it's like they have a backstory and all that stuff. But Titus Andronicus has one of the characters that's just evil for the fuck's sake of being evil. And like, it's crazy. But like, it's literally like you read it and you're like, this is a slasher film. It's so brutal and it's crazy. And like, yeah, that's the one play where I'm like, if you don't like Shakespeare, but you like gory, just insane, or not even if you like gory. I don't like gory stuff usually. But I read it and I was like, how the fuck did he write this in 1500? He got away with this shit. This is crazy.
He's insane.
Yeah, like abridged version. A king conquers a country and he brings back the queen and her sons from that country as like war slaves, right? He kills one of the sons in front of her. So the other two escape from prison because she's mad. The other two escape from prison. She convinces them to escape from prison to go fuck around with the king's people and make him mad. Goodness. They escape prison. They rape the king's daughter and then they cut her hands off and cut her tongue out so that she can't tell who did it.
Oh my gosh.
And then the play ends by her figuring out that she can grab a stick and write in the sand the name of her perpetrators. And once the king finds that out, he kills those sons, bakes them into meat pies, and serves it to the queen. And then, so like, so the meat pie thing, like Sweeney Todd.
Yeah.
That's where that came from.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure Shakespeare was like copying someone else too. But like, so the Sweeney Todd shit kind of came from that. And then like, yeah, so like God. Baking humans into pies like came from that.
That is crazy.
Yeah, but like that's a Shakespeare play.
Right.
That's a Shakespeare play. That's the guy that wrote Romeo and Juliet. You know what I mean?
Mind. Yeah.
Like, that's the guy that wrote Hamlet.
My mind is like so blown because I did not know that's like the whole Sweeney Todd.
Titus Andronicus.
Yeah, I honestly kind of want to read that now.
It's crazy. Even if you read the Spark Notes version, dude, it's crazy. It's so good. Yeah.
Have you read this is like a weird superstition.
Okay.
And you probably know, but like I have never read or even said the play that
the M word.
Yeah. My boyfriend doesn't understand, and so sometimes he'll be like, "Oh, that play," and he'll say it, and I'll be like, "Shut up!" Like,
the Scottish play.
Yeah,
dude. So when my high school theater director, she. I think she was suspicious and didn't want to admit it. But, like, a lot of the high school kids would just run into the theater yelling it because they thought it was funny. And so, like, she was like, one time a kid did that and she was like, stop right there. And allegedly to break it, you're supposed to stand where you were when you said it, spin counterclockwise 3 times and, like, ask for forgiveness or something and then spit on the ground. And so she would make kids do that. If they said it in the theater, she would make kids do that. And one time I asked her, I was like, do you believe in this? And she was like, no, but enough other kids are scared of it. I make everyone who says it.
You believe in
it?
Like,
you can't blame it on us. We didn't know the superstition before.
She believed in it. She just didn't want to say it because I'm like, why are
you
you making
it,
kids?
Right?
Yeah. I'm like, why are you making kids spit on the ground?
Were you like a high school theater kid as well?
Yeah. But here's the thing. I've always been like a huge like film nerd.
Nice.
So I'm just naturally like quiet. You know how whenever you think of like theater kid, it's like, oh,
loud.
Yeah. So I did plays and I enjoyed them, but it wasn't like I wasn't gonna tell anyone like, hey, I'm in this play.
You're like, I got on stage, but no one knew about it.
Yeah, like I'm like chill with just like being a character that's like not the lead.
Right.
Like it's like fine. And I just was much more like collected than,
right.
Like I don't know, so I always felt like it, like I was in it, but when people thought like, oh, the kids in theater, I don't think they would have like thought of me.
Right. I was definitely the theater kid. I was literally president of the thespians in high school. But I will say amazing. I kind of relate to that because I was never one of the super crazy ones either. I was always just like, why the fuck are they being weird right now? They're making us. I was like, they're making us look bad. This is why people hate theater kids. Like, stop it. And I don't know, my high school was cool. Like when I was kind of coming into it, for whatever reason, the theater program was like the cool thing to be a part of. And so like we had like jocks, like I dated the captain of the swim team because he was also in theater. Like,
nice.
Like we met through theater. So it was like we had like legit jocks and cheerleaders and like honors kids and like nerds. Like we kind of had everyone. But yeah, I kind of felt the same way. I was never the one that was like trying to jump up and like do a backflip for attention. And so I was like, what the hell? And
why is there always one of those? Because we had one of those too who would just be like, like I just like didn't understand that.
Dude,
like,
there's always that kid.
Or like, why are you singing musicals in class?
Yeah, like, he's bursting out.
Yeah, and like, can we just like tone it down?
Like, I get it, your balls haven't dropped yet, Jonathan, but like, please chill.
I'm like, no one wants to hear Rent. Like, like while they're trying to get their classwork done. Like,
also, so funny that high schoolers just know the Rent lyrics if that's the play. Like, that's like the most stereotypical annoying theater kid thing to do is start singing Rent even in high school. Like, this song's about AIDS.
Like, it is. And then like, oh my god, it was like my senior year when Hamilton was a huge thing.
I was in college when that came out.
I truly wanted to lose my mind because I was like, can all of you just shut the fuck up? Like you're not what's the actor
you're not god, I'm gonna forget his fucking name too. I literally remember like Lackety Lack, but I can't remember the first. His name doesn't even fucking matter. Fuck that guy.
Yeah,
the author of Hamilton. Fuck you. Love you, actually. Lin-Manuel Miranda. There it is.
Yes,
it was in there.
Yeah, every male in theater thought that like they were gonna be Lin-Manuel, and I'm like, just leave. You're not.
Here's the thing. Here's the problem with that is when I was in college, Hamilton came out. Everyone was obsessed with it. I was in the theater department. Couple of the kids got cast, but in a Richard Ramirez Rodriguez, who's the director that shoots a bunch of shit in town, right? Rodriguez. He was shooting some stuff. He's friends with Alex Lacamoire, who is the guy that wrote the musical for Lin-Manuel Miranda. He wrote the music side of it. These kids were on set of whatever film they were shooting one day. Oh no, it was Linklater. That's who it was. They were in a Linklater film.
Okay.
He's friends with Lacamoire, and Lacamoire was on set. These kids that I'm friends with didn't realize it. They're on set. They find a piano. They're fucking around on the piano singing Hamilton. Lacamoire heard them and he got them auditions on Broadway, and 2 of them ended up playing main roles in Hamilton on Broadway.
Really?
So that's the thing where I'm like, theater kids are annoying until it gets them a fucking job, you know? Like these guys were small roles. And on a lot, like, you know what I mean?
On they
were small roles on a Linkwater film in college, and then happened to run into the guy that helped co-write Hamilton, and then they got to run on Broadway. That's crazy.
I respect that. I'm like, if you can just consistently be annoying for like 4 years.
I think that's why it takes 10 years in LA. Like, that's the annoyance level. You know? The casting directors are like, God, we got to give this guy a role or he's going to shoot himself next time. It's been 10 years. We got to go.
Yeah. Oh my God. That is amazing. Ooh, yeah, I say this, but some of the like theater kids I still talk to today, like I'll like see them on Facebook and I'll be like, oh, like you're living life.
Yeah, no hate for sure. Like several of the people I went to school with are, like I said, legitimately working in Broadway or elsewhere, and like some of them are musicians now. Like whatever, like people are doing the thing that they want. I'm a comedian now, you know, like it's cool, you know. But yeah, definitely there's some that are more theatery than others, for sure.
Oh, I love that. Oh my gosh.
It's so fun though. Never a dull moment.
There's not.
I think that's why I liked hanging out with comics. So when I first started comedy, I was like, oh, these people are also attention whores, but they're cool off stage. Like, like, you guys are chilling. Like, no one's, you know.
It's like we all just want like validation in some sort.
Well, it's like the theater kids will just like burst, like you said, randomly burst into song no matter what. It's like the most annoying thing a comic's gonna do off stage is pitch you a bit, which is like not nearly as annoying, you know, and you're probably interested in working on it with them anyway.
Of course. So it's like there's no like singing. I just can't do like singing. And I respect people, like I'm just maybe jealous deep down because I can't sing, but like
well, I was gonna say I can sing a little bit, and I'm still just like I'm not doing that. Maybe that's why I'm annoyed by it. I'm like, no one needs to know that I took voice lessons in middle school right now, you know? Right.
Yeah. It like or like when you're like in a close vicinity with someone and they just like play music and start like singing to it, I'm like, holy shit, like
unless we're road tripping together, do not.
Okay, yeah, like that's different, like a road trip or like a jam out, but like when you're in like a confined space,
you're trying to co-work. They're just humming Mr. Brightside next to you.
I'm like, my head's gonna explode. But I just need to work on like my temper sometimes because little things like that. And like, Jesus Christ. Oh my gosh. Well, oh my God, thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me on the show. This is great.
I wish we had more time. I'm sorry I ran so late.
Oh, no, it's fine.
Like, I'm always late. Like, but I have been getting better at it.
Nice.
And I think that's why I was like internally pissed today because I was like,
because you're like, I actually left on time.
Yeah, like I was like, I've had a month of like being on time to places and then this fucking
Well, I felt that too because I told Brayden, I was like, I literally was a mile or two away, like at a coffee shop, and then I didn't notice it when I pulled into the coffee shop, but the part of the road that comes towards this place was closed for construction, so I went to leave the coffee shop and I was like, fuck, I can't go that way, and then of course the detour was fucked, so that's when I messaged you, but like I didn't even have service on that part of town, so I'm like trying to message you, trying to pin the location of this place, can't find shit, finally get out of that, and then I was like, I'm so sorry, I might be late. I was like, I left with ample time for where I was, but now I do not have time.
Hey, you're so good. Anytime anyone's late around me, I'm like, I've been late 25 years.
You're like,
so
it's like, my karma now. That's
I'm like, I don't care. Yeah, but oh my God, thank you. Do you have like any, well, you're on social media, I know this now. Do you want to plug yourself? Or
Litty Titty Tuesdays at the Creek in the Cave. That's at Litty Titty Comedy on Instagram, and then my stuff is Alliwo, ALLIWO. That's me on Instagram, alliwo.com for shows and merch and all that stuff. Nice. I have Litty Titty merch.
Ooh.
I might be going annoying meathead and making some Fuck It We Train shirts soon. Like, you know, Fuck It We Ball.
Yeah.
I actually think Fuck It We Tren is also very funny. Like, fucking like testosterone. I'm a boy, by the way. I'm literally like, I'm a toxic man. We're so lucky I don't have a dick. Literally, all of the memes I'm targeted with on Instagram are like telling me to take testosterone and like championing Zins, and I don't even take Zins. Like, I don't.
Oh Zins.
So dumb.
I'm like, Zins are all that bad. Well, okay, they are, but like my boyfriend is collecting them.
That's so funny. That's so funny.
And he wants to get like a Traeger grill, and I'm like, get me a Dyson, but like if you get a grill, you can make food. So either way, it's a win.
Yeah.
I'm like, they're rewarding people for their nicotine problems.
That's so funny. Amazing. Oh my God, that's crazy. Hilarious.
Well, thank you guys for listening. I am starting a new show at Dear Austin. It's supposed to be on Wednesdays. The first one is September 4th. Don't know that this will be out by then, but if it is, come see the show. It's free. Yeah, if you guys enjoyed this, I honestly would love a like. I would not complain if you guys upvoted this on YouTube.
Give her a like and a sub. You know where the buttons are.
Right, the buttons are right there. Yeah, I'm appreciative of whoever's listening to this. Bye.
What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you?